when I'm thinking about solipsism, a couple movies come to mind that I've seen. Um, One of them was The Truman Show, where Jim Carrey was this character that had been born always being on camera, being like a television show, and it was kept. Everything was a prop around him, so all the people around him were just acting out, and the city was a movie prop, and everything was enclosed in this dome. And he was raised from a from a baby all the way to his adulthood in this enclosure that was always being filmed. So it was a way a little bit. He kind of got he figured out that there was something wrong with the world. I mean, you think so at the time that that girl left him, it kind of dawned on him there was something not right. Which brings to mind another idea: is that you could leave a duplicate of yourself alive and around, and they would just take over, and then you could go and do something else more fun. So let's say your life is a dreary, boring life, and you could go out on an adventure and have this really, really neat, crazy, wild time, and then someone could take your place, just look just like you, acted just like you, knew what everything to do, how to work there on their whatever they were supposed to do as a person. They could pretend like they were you, but you wouldn't really be there. You'd be somewhere else. And that happened in this movie, The Last Starfighter. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. They might have that part of the movie where his double is left to take his place to fulfill all his duties and responsibilities, so that he can go off and fight this alien invader in the galaxy somewhere else in another star system. And he gets recruited by this guy, drives up in a car, picks him up, and takes him away. And he gets back, but he comes back home, and there's this guy that looks just like him that's pretending to be him. It's really just a robot. And in a way, that kind of one part of this movie was a little bit, it's like that movie with Adam Sandler, Click, where he has a remote and he can speed things up or fast forward through parts of his life, and he can't get rid of it. Once he has it, and then it goes into autoplay mode, and he wants to turn it off, and he goes back to the place where he got it, at that Bed and Bath and Beyond, and the character that's played by Christopher Walken is there and tells him, and then he wakes up, and it's all just he's having this dream at the store. But in that situation, he had someone else take his place while he was fast forwarding, so he didn't have to live that part of his life. It was just this person that just was like this generic person that didn't really, it just was like a stand-in. It was on it was autopilot. So it was that way he didn't have to experience that part of his life. So there's situations like that. They're interesting. The other show that actually have seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Sliders, and that's where the physicist develops a wormhole that he can go through, and it's a gateway to other parallel worlds. So in the movie, it sucks them in, and it makes them disappear, and then they reappear through this vortex. They get thrown out, and then they're in this other world, and the worlds are always almost exactly the same, but little things are, sometimes it's just a little bit different, and sometimes it's a lot different. But they're kind of jumping in between parallel worlds that are almost identical to the Earth, which is an interesting idea. I think if there was another machine on another planet that was made at exactly the same time, that maybe the two machines could communicate radio signals, or leave an artifact, have an effect, so that the effect could travel through the interdimensional or interworld portal. at least communication of some kind could be established from from one world to another world. Then they could do maybe that in the future of that. They could have it where the people could transport onto another planet. Something like on Star Trek, but only with transporters, and instead of transporting in location, you transport into another universe. But I think when you die, you just forget, and then your consciousness could again reemerge in a parallel universe. And that's an old idea. It goes back to the ancient Greeks, and then it's been popularized now more by the physicists, Brian Greene and Max Tegmark, and some of the other, theoretical cosmologists. They speculate about if the size of our known universe and extent, where it goes in space and time, it could be so big that there's another Earth, or there are other Earths, but they are just so far away. Now, I was listening to Max Tegmark talking about that. It was really interesting. Oh, could that be? I mean, maybe when you die, there's just another planet that you can be born on again, and then while you're dead, you're not there, so there's no time. So really, we're all, anyone that's conscious is forced to face their own non-existence in the future. And that was one of the things Thomas Ligotti wrote about in the book I was reading, the Conspiracy Against the Human Race. Is that everybody once you have the knowledge of your own end, your own death, and it's like really affects you. I mean, you start thinking about your own life's going to end someday. But it just happens, eventually, so it might as well embrace it. Might as well just try to go, well, I'll accept everything. I'll just accept what happens. Which I think that's more of nihilism. I mean, maybe a nihilist is that they just accept that their own, it doesn't, nothing matters anyhow because they're going to die anyway. So, in my opinion, it does matter. What you do has an effect on other beings, their well-being, their experiences. So if you're conscientious of how you live, and you're careful about not bothering or injuring or harming other animals or other people, that if you're careful about how you live so that you have a positive effect, so by your being there, you're helping and aiding, and you're bringing more comfort, you're bringing more security, more stability and harmony to the people and animals around you, the way you live, then you'll have a good effect. So and then you're going to die anyways. I mean, yeah, so you'll die anyway. So just like, then at that point you can be a nihilist. Once you're just ready to die, then why not just be a nihilist? At that point, but not while you're capable of having a consequence from your decisions, and your actions have a consequence in the environment that will have a chain reaction and a domino effect in society and on the ecology you depend on, on the earth you live on. So if you're very conscientious of how you live as far as your impact on the ecology, as well as how you social interact, and how you bring about a positive influence, an influence for greater comfort, greater efficiency, greater you're actually, by your being there, you help others prosper. You may not be rich yourself, but you help a lot of people around you become rich by the decisions that you make every day at your job.